Most people still think of Tier 2 cities in China as slow, outdated, or risky, but that version of China is gone. If you are still using that mental map, you are already behind. The truth is, China's Tier 2 cities are not poor. They are simply misunderstood. And here's what most people forget. Staying in Singapore with rising costs, shrinking returns, and no room to test is also risky. Spending $100,000 to open a shop in an overcrowded market is risky. Doing nothing while others quietly move ahead is risky. You do not eliminate risk by staying still. You just change the type of risk you accept. While the world watches Beijing and Shanghai, Tier 2 cities have been building, growing, and modernizing, but with less noise. Look at the numbers. Over 140 million people now live in China's Tier 2 cities, including places like Chengdu, Wuhan, Qingdao, and Changsha. Their economies have been growing between 5 and 8% yearly, even during global slowdowns. And their infrastructure? In many cases, it is more advanced than what we see in so-called first-tier cities across Southeast Asia. The middle class in these cities is growing fast, disposable income is rising, consumer behavior is shifting from survival to aspiration. People are spending on education, wellness, property upgrades, premium food, and lifestyle services. This is no longer a developing environment, it is a progressing one, with momentum, direction, and hunger. So why do so many people still get it wrong? Because the narrative is outdated. Most Singaporeans are just too focused on Tier 1 cities, or worse. They assume anything outside of that is a step backwards. But Tier 1 cities are saturated, they're competitive, expensive. Tier 2 still has room. There's room to build, there's room to test, and there's room to breathe. What many see as slow is actually stable, and what they call underdeveloped is often affordable. What looks quiet from the outside is moving quickly on the inside. You might be wondering what is actually happening on the ground. Let us look at a few examples. In Xi'an, local governments are offering rent subsidies and co-working grants to small businesses. In Hangzhou, the fintech and e-commerce scene has expanded into second-tier zones, bringing spillover demand for services, logistics, and staff training. In Chongqing, health and wellness centers are booming, with Singapore-style branding often leading to better trust and conversion rates. And here is what matters. These cities are not trying to be like Singapore. They are trying to offer the structure, safety, and quality that Singapore already lived through, which means you as a Singaporean already understand what they want. What you consider basic is actually seen as premium elsewhere. What feels normal to you is still pretty aspirational for many people. The value you can bring, it's not just about the product, it's also about mindset, standards, and the systems you put in place. Just imagine opening a small wellness space, or maybe a structured enrichment center, even a clean lifestyle cafe, or a simplified advisory service. These ideas, they really don't need to be big at all. They need to be reliable, calming, and trustworthy. And you already know how to build that because you grew up with it. Now let us address the fear, but isn't it risky? Yes, every move carries risk. But you need to ask, risk compared to what? In Tier 2 China cities, the costs are lower, the barriers are lighter, and the customer demand is rising. You do not have to quit your job, you do not have to move your family, but you do need to explore, and you do need to look past the headlines. Because while most people are still watching the news, others are already building inside the opportunity. You are not late, you are early, if you choose to be. Comment below if this challenged how you see China. I want to know what you thought Tier 2 looked like and whether this changed